host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa! What up, mi gente? It's your boy, Al Mega. Thank you for joining us for a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, folks, we're going to talk indie comics, kiddo, with a brother from my own Eli, yo. That's right, a Puerto Rican creator that's busting it, right? I mean, he's on the East Coast of the States now, up north. I mean, he's a writer, a photographer, comic book artist. He got some joint called The Plot right now, and he's murdering it in the indie scene. The one, the only, my fellow Boricua, el señor Melvin Cartagena. Wepa, ¿cómo está, tipo? Hey.
Bien, buenas noches, good night, bonsoir for your French listeners.
Oh man, you know French too, kiddo? No, hold on.
Well, I know that bonsoir, it's like good night, but that's about all.
All I know is je m'appelle Olizon. Comment ça to the two?
Oh, actually, je m'appelle Melvin, so there you go, yeah. Melvin Cartagena.
Yeah, comment allez-vous? Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Look at us, folks.
So how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm always happy when I get to talk to a fellow Boricua, you know, especially in this creative market of comic books, because there's not many of us in this field, to be honest. So
I agree. Yes, I agree. Yeah,
I'm always very happy to speak to one of my own, and see how their journey is in this fantastic field. So, brother, it's called Comic Crusaders Podcast for a reason, right? I need that comic book origin, kiddo. Talk to me. Tell us where you born at, where you from, what's popping.
Okay, so I was born in New York in the Bronx, and you probably are familiar with that because a lot of Boricuas come from the Bronx. Like that seems for whatever reason, that's where all the Boricuas went back in the 60s and 70s.
You're gonna kill, you're killing me because I was born in PR and my parents moved to New York when I was, basically a newborn. And just as you said, for some odd reason, I was on Grand Concourse in the Bronx and Tremont.
Yes, for whatever reason, it was like that. For us, I think it was in Hunts Point, I think, in our case, the Bronx, Hunts Point Avenue. But from very little, I went to, I grew up in Puerto Rico. And I'm trying to think of exactly how the particular thing for comics came about. Because growing up there, even though I had access to Marvel comics, the typical stuff, Marvel, DC, I didn't then and still don't really care much for superheroes. And I think the good thing about that is that it exposed me to a whole range of comics that I probably would not have if I had grown up here in the States. Like, for example, do you remember a comic from Mexico actually called Calimán? Do you remember that?
Yes. Oh, my God. Okay.
Yes.
You're killing me because as I was growing up in New York, right, and I loved my comics, of course. But my uncles and aunts, older than me, they would have all the Spanish language comics. So here I'm discovering this whole other world. I'm like, what is this? This is not Marvel. This is not the Secret Head, though. I mean, it was like so cool.
It was just coming from such a different place in terms of storytelling.
Yes.
The method, the distribution, the business, and it was so. And now in the age that we live in now, like the fact that you and I are talking and we're though really far away from each other, distance is irrelevant. But when I was little, these things might have also been coming from another planet. There was something so odd and bizarre about this particular comic. There was a story arc. There were a number of story arcs involving this character named Calimán. He was like a mystic. He had been trained in how to control his mind. So that appealed to me. He always said, he who controls his mind controls everything. So I was a kid who was like shy, insecure, awkward. And to me, it was just awesome because he was so cool. Like there was nothing he couldn't do if he just simply got a hold of his mind, like a hold of himself. But he would get into these bizarre adventures. There's one that I've never forgotten where he's in Rio de Janeiro. And he is attacked by these two people with dog heads. And he thinks it's a disguise because it's Carnival. But it turns out it's like real dog heads on humans. And that unfolds into an adventure where he goes after this guy who's like a brilliant, I would almost describe it like in the context of a DC, almost like a Dr. Doom type of guy.
Okay.
And that eventually leads with that confrontation. And there were others arcs, but I always remember that one because it was so bizarre, so awesome, so action packed, and it kind of led me to look more for more of that. And then from that, it led to, let me see, it led to Fantomas, which is actually has its
Oh my
origins in French
God.
literature.
Yes.
But there was a comic, I remember it very well designed, like Fantomas, La Amenaza Elegante. You probably remember that, yeah. And there was something so exotic about that. It was this thing that just came from another planet, got dropped into the magazine stand, and it was so exciting. And then in time, as I grew up, I kind of took other interests because I'm also a big movie guy. But those kind of stayed with me. And as I got older, I got like, yeah, I'm a comic book guy, but I never really cared for superhero comics. The closest thing I care about DC or Marvel is Frank Miller when he was doing Daredevil,
Okay.
and then he did Ronin, and then he did The Dark Knight. Like
Yeah.
what he did with
I-
Batman was a really unique thing.
It was unique. It was good. And then people want to blame him. Oh, you brought in the Dark Age, Frank. How dare you? No, he was paid to do an awesome story. And it's not his fault.
And he
that
delivered,
people
yeah.
connected to it on that level that now everything's dark. It's not Frank's fault.
Yeah, it kind of had its bad influence in that, this is something he did in the 80s, but to this day, every Batman movie is still dark and depressed and like a suicidal, psychotic Batman. Like, so that's kind of the downside, and that no one's thought of going beyond that. But anyway, like, that's the only thing in regards to superheroes. Now, that is essentially it as far as comics. And I'm in fact rediscovering still, like a few years ago, I discovered El Eternata, The Eterna, which is Argentinian comic book about science fiction too, like science fiction originating in Latin America. And to me, that was like
Nice.
awesome. And then I actually bought the Fantagraphics collected edition, and its quality is such a clever, so original, so inventive. And then there's the aspect in that it influenced culture. The main protagonist, the Eternata, he is like a sort of unbound from time. There was an alien invasion in Argentina. Him and neighbors just got together to fight. And his character, like he improvised this little radiation hazmat suit because there is a snow, like a sort of a poisonous snow that the aliens drop on Argentina that kills people. So he improvises this wetsuit, this sort of hazmat suit. And if you look graffiti of El Eternauta, you will see it, like, let's say in the favelas of Brazil, you see him in France, in like Ukraine. You could probably look in Ukraine right now with the problems that they have. If you can somehow you will find that symbol. And it's so fascinating to me that that character became a symbol of resistance against foreign invasion. It's become this like a mythological figure. And to me, that is awesome. To me, that was so cool. And the fact that it originates in a Latin American country, that was just, like you said, you don't really see much. You don't see really Latinos much. You're seeing that now in Marvel and DC, but
Not really.
I don't really care about superheroes. I don't particularly mean anything to me.
You say that, but I don't think Marvel and DC are even doing that right, because when they try to represent us, they have this bad habit of let me put as much diversity in a character as I can. So
overdoing it, yes.
Yeah, so they're not only Latino, they this, that, and the other. How about I would like to have a straight Latino character, an LGBTQ Latino character, a black, mixed character. Let's, but not everyone is mixed, not everyone is this, not everyone is that. Like they're trying to put us in this box. I feel the big two labels, and they need to stop that because also the Latinos are way much more diverse than most people than even think. I mean, look at Puerto Ricans, for example. We're the most mixed people in the world, I think. You know what I mean? With
Definitely. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into
Native and black. I mean, African. So you tell me.
Yes, definitely. And now that you mentioned that, I guess I am glad that I actually did grow up in the island, because if I didn't have that, I don't think I would have been exposed to the culture that shapes, influences and shapes what I do. Because the United States, it's kind of lacking. There's a lot of entertainment, but it's also lacking a certain cultural foundation. Whereas growing up in Puerto Rico, one thing that we did in school, like in grade school, was once every few weeks we went to the theater. We went to they took us to a play in one of the oldest theaters standing there, El Teatro La Perla, the Pearl Theater. And so I was exposed to that. They also had theaters where they show movies that were all over the place, like from straight up grindhouse exploitation type of movies to like an art house movie that maybe wasn't the same thing, but nevertheless it had some effect on me. And again, there was the aspect of cosmopolitan, of like of foreign, this foreign exotic thing that came from some other dimension and into this place. Like I didn't understand distribution, all that. And now in our world, the world that we live in, that we're so connected, you sort of know that you usually have too much information before something comes out. If you spend any amount of time on Twitter, you know that like there's people already have an opinion about something, and you don't even know what the thing is about yet. Just you start seeing poster art and all that. So I love that aspect of it, and that still has stayed with me. That aspect of having a little bit of information, not knowing too much. Like for example, I at some point we get into my comic book, but at the same time I'm like, how do I say without saying what it is about? You know, like I want you to go, click on the link, download it, check it out, and if you don't like it, unsubscribe. But like I don't want to spoil it. And the thing is, there is a culture now where people want everything told ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like I'm guessing this is a byproduct of social media.
Yes.
But again, growing up in the island,
everybody needs a quick fix. They need that quick entertainment. They need their quick 5 minutes. It's again, it's because of these things. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is both. It's unfortunate, but it's also awesome. Like we live in a time where, like you said, one of those devices and a few apps, there's virtually no limit to what you can do. Like I love to watch people who do web series on YouTube, like sci-fi horror web series. Oh, there is some really clever, inventive stuff being done. Again, just with phones, with devices, with little apps creating effects. Like I love to see that because when lockdown happened, I got to see a movie just before lockdown happened, before movie theaters were closed and all that. And the thing is, I'm reflecting on now that you can go to movie theaters again. It's relatively safe to go to movie theaters. I don't particularly miss the movie theater experience. I'm not particularly interested in movies, really. I don't really care for almost anything. Where are you on that? Like, what is your thing? I'm assuming you're also a movie guy.
I love movies. When I was a young man in New York, where movie theaters were still inexpensive, then yeah, every weekend something drop. This is pre-internet days, so yeah, hey baby, you want to go see this movie that just came out? Sure. Nowadays, nah, I'm good. I don't want to go there. It's not just the price point, but it's just, I don't know. The experience is just, we're getting delivered the same content on the same day on TV. So really, do I need to spend $20 on a ticket, or can I just watch it at home and spend, $30, for example, like Disney charges sometimes? But guess what? I'm paying $30, but if I have 20 people in my house, or 20 people could watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have the big screen TV, maybe have everybody bring food, bring different things, and you don't have to deal with that one.
Bring some pernil, some cotones, some good stuff.
Coquito.
Oh my God. Bro, if I drink coquito during a film, I don't know if I'm going to watch it.
I know, right? You'll be, depending on who made it, right? Too much rum and not enough coconut milk.
Well, my mom makes it. Let me tell you, Melvin, you will not be walking a straight line.
Funny, I don't really drink, but I like sweet things, and I like coquito because it's sweet. It's like depending on, again, who does it, it'll have like a nice sweet kick to it. So, but anyway, yeah, like I feel the same. Like I feel movies are not cinematic, I guess is what I'm saying. Like movies are not, they're missing the cinematic element. Now, what cinema is, I cannot really define it. I can give you examples. Like
I could
cinema is.
I could tell you.
Sorry, go ahead. Yes.
I could tell you right now. I just bought a 4K TV, right? And then my wife puts on a movie and like, okay, let's put it the way it's supposed to look here, natural, whatever. I cannot watch. I can't. Parece una novela. It looks like a novela, a soap opera.
Yes.
And it takes away what I feel is that cinematic filter that's in front. That thing between the lens and the TV screen, so that we could watch. That filter is gone.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
It feels too real. Like okay. I saw Evil Dead on this, the original.
Sam Raimi's Evil Dead.
I had to stop it halfway. I mean, this experience is ruining the movie for me.
I think so. Yeah, there was some. It's also like there was a little bit of flaw, like the film look. That's one thing that made the cinematic experience crucial, like the film look, and that's largely gone. Like it's really just like movies are film TV. It's film TV. It's like TV with more money, essentially. But going back to what I said, like okay, I cannot define cinema in an academic way, but I can give examples. So Mad Max, that's cinema. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That is cinema.
Love it.
Like Pulp Fiction, that is cinema. Like Goodfellas, that is cinema. There is something, yes, there's something grand, something epic, something amazing, something like a punch that you cannot define it, but it's like a gut reaction, and that's largely gone from movies. So that I and then there's also, like you said, the price point, and they even have something called selective pricing, where like one theater might charge more for the same movie than another theater. So it's like, okay, like you said, like, I'll just pay for the subscription and just watch it at home in your nice like lazy boy with like a
Right?
pernil, arroz con
You be
gandules, like
there with fresh food in your underwear, watching a movie in your house that is in the movie theater. I mean, why wouldn't you want that comfort? Come on now.
yes, and you don't have to deal with that one asshole on his phone, even though it says no
Right.
phones after the movie start, like in giant letters and all that.
Or screaming at the screen. Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
shut up, bro. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
like the YouTuber who's like just getting material for his review later on.
I love
Yeah,
it.
but anyway,
I experienced
those are
that
the
with the Crow.
things. Wait, what do you experience? Are you saying?
I experienced that with The Crow. When that movie came out back in the 90s, The
Oh
Crow,
yeah,
with
yes,
Brandon
yes,
Lee, I
yes.
saw that in New York with my friends. And my friends decided to get Southern Comfort, buy a large soda, throw out most of the soda, and fill it up with the Southern Comfort. Let me
Holy
tell you,
Christ!
I had to leave. I said, yo, can you sit in the front? Either, oh, I'm
Hey,
going to
get away
leave.
from me! I don't know
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, like, shut up, bro. You're ruining the flick, bro.
That's funny. Wow. Yeah, I never saw that movie in the theaters. I saw it later on, and it's okay. It's one of those situations where I think if Brandon Lee hadn't died, that movie might not have been as popular as it did. Like, as I remember the marketing and all that, and essentially that was like the key marketing item, like Brandon Lee had dying on
Yeah,
the set
yeah.
of the movie. But it's okay. I mean, like, I appreciate the fact that it's a movie from the '90s now. It was made on film. It had models. It was just a way of making movies that is almost gone now.
Yeah.
And by extension, something is also missing. It's too easy, I guess, to make movies now, unfortunately.
I know. Again, I hate the commercials. Oh, all you need is an iPhone. No, you don't. Stop it. I know some people do good work, but nah, you need better equipment than that, yo. For real. Stop.
And just skill too. Like, like I don't want to get into political and all that, but the whole thing about like the current situation with SJWs and woke is that all they're doing is like swapping genders and then patting themselves on the back for having done something amazing. I'm not saying that's wrong, like that's important, that's vital, but you gotta do more than that. You still have to tell a story. You still have to do something. Just to simply say Ghostbusters with women, I'm like, and so like, what about it?
That's what Todd McFarlane got in trouble for recently, and that's the perfect example when you brought that out, when he made a comment like, "What is the reason I don't do an all girl run of toys?" Because
yes, I remember that.
He's been in the business for over 30 years, so he's telling you, this is not going to sell as well as maybe a mixed line like he does. You know what I mean? He said,
I remember that. Yes,
people went crazy, and when neither you say Ghostbusters, somebody put up a great video. They said, "Well, look at the last that all female centric Ghostbusters film. Do you know that the toys were on sale for 50% off even before the movie dropped because nobody was buying them?" So doesn't that kind of prove McFarlane's point?
exactly. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't see the actual interview, but I remember the aftermath. There's a channel that I follow where they cover that. They cover that sort of like a geeky scene like that. And as usual, people were losing their mind. But the thing is, the host of the channel was quoting someone from BuzzFeed talking about how, like, why don't you create a line of so and so? And in my mind, I'm thinking, why don't you do that? If you're so sure that there is a line, why don't you create your own? Like this, to me, that's like the beginning of a great American success story. Like, you see a need in the marketplace for something, you go out and create it. And then they're ripping apart Todd McFarlane, who's like incredibly successful. He's been phenomenally successful. And to tell him what the marketplace is, like, it's funny, we're having this discussion. Meanwhile, Todd McFarlane, he probably doesn't even know about any of this. He's probably just busy, just running his company.
He
like,
doesn't
not
care. He's gonna be making his toys, his awesome comics, and that's what it is. Because again, he's been in the business. He said what he said. He understands the model. And, again, it's what it is. I mean, it's crazy, but hey, it's what it is. I mean, it's true.
exactly,
I mean, even when it comes to even colored toys, for example, like look at Star Wars. If you go to look for Star Wars figures, why is Lando always there, but no other figure is?
Exactly. Yeah, like,
I
people
mean,
like him because he's cool. He's a cool cat.
cool, but yeah, but people ain't buying some stuff though because of whatever it is, overproduction. I mean, give people what they want, give us what we want, and if people think that hey, this will work, instead of telling, like you said, a company to do this, how about you prove the model, you do this, and you tell me how it works out for you.
Exactly. It's like, no, that would require effort. That would require long-term planning, discipline, doing things that much easier to just rip someone apart on BuzzFeed. Like, oh yeah, that'll take care of
Yeah.
everything.
And see, and
Yes.
thank you. That's what I want to get into because you are definitely somebody that's busy. You do stuff, man. You write, you photograph. You got an awesome comic called The Plot.
Hmm. All
Oh,
right.
mira
Oh,
eso.
thank you. Thank you. Look at
Uh,
that. I love to see stuff
so
like that.
yeah, so before we get into the plot, I see that this is something called Robo Pulp. What's Robo Pulp?
Okay, so Robopulp essentially is my Twitter handle and my Facebook, but where Robopulp came from, it's sort of my sensibilities. The Robopart comes from science fiction. That's my favorite genre. Since I was little, I've always liked stories that are idea driven. And science fiction, typically, the idea is kind of like the engine, the leading engine. So science fiction and pulp from Pulp Fiction, not necessarily Quentin Tarantino Pulp Fiction, but in pulp, as in the pulps, like that classic
Yeah, the
storytelling.
detective comics from back in the day and all that.
Yes, yeah, like Black Mass, Argus, all these this very rough, like printed on very rough paper that was made in the 30s and 40s, and that's where Raymond Chandler first started publishing his short stories before he did the Philip Marlowe novels. That's where Dashiell Hammett did the Continental Up stories before he did Red Harvest and The Thin Man and The
Oh
Maltese
wow.
Falcon and a number of other people. Like I think Mickey Spillane kind of missed that by a few years, but then in the 50s he came out with Mike Hammer. It's that sensibility, like that attitude, that sensibility that comes from that era when America was more free, more wild, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So it's those two things make Robopop, which is kind of what this is. It's like the plot. The plot is a construct. It takes, let's say, it rehashes old stories that you've probably seen a million times, but it takes like what I call cultural debris from America. Like let's say, without getting too spoilery, it uses Men in Black, not Men in Black, the Will Smith movie, but Men in Black as originally conceived. The Men in Black, these people who are supposed to be telling people, hey, don't be talking about aliens, so we're gonna do stuff to you, like those. Because in the original form, to me, they were terrifying. Like they sound like the scariest thing ever. So there is Men in Black there. There is I guess, the time that we live in now where we kind of know that our phones are listening on what we say, but we kind of also take it for granted and just accept it. There is a little bit of that. And then I am a huge fan of espionage and Cold War movies and novels. And one trope that it's been debunked now, it's not really true, but when I was a kid, anything involving like a sleeper agent, this person who had been trained, let's say in the Soviet Union, to be a spy, and then is sent to America, and they live a normal life for years and whatever, until one day they get a phone call and someone says a password, and all of a sudden the agent is activated. I love that. Like I thought that was so cool, and at the same time so terrifying that someone can take a hold of your mind and just control you that way.
Right.
So I took all these elements, which I consider cultural debris, because it's sort of like you typically would see it again in Pulp Fiction, in like cheap crime novels, like those dime a dozen crime novels, like you would see it in like a exploitation in grindhouse, like it would lead to like sex and other things, but like it would start with like a spy. Like I love all that stuff, and I just combine all that stuff into this book, into a thriller, into, I guess you could call it a paranoid thriller.
Excellent. So, how long is the story here that we have for the
The
plot?
story is 125 pages, split into three parts.
Oh wow! So how does it get released?
Yes.
What's the plan of action with releasing and accessibility for us as fans?
Okay, so for now, I created the Gumroad link that you're showing, and essentially, I'm giving it away as a subscription. Like, join,
Cool.
download the book, you leave your email, download the book, and just kind of, I'll be dropping news every so often about stuff we're doing, because there will be more comics in the future, but it's not exclusively comics. There is also other media because I'm not a cartoonist per se. I don't consider myself a cartoonist. I consider myself more a writer who happens to make comics. I am more into storytelling in all its forms. Like I'm a movie guy, like you. I'm also a big fan of audio theater, audio drama theater. That's something that kind of went away in the 70s, 80s, 90s, but now it's coming back. Now there are people who are doing it. They create their own stuff and they post it on the internet. And I found some really clever, inventive stuff that people are doing just on their own. So I'm like, okay, I want to try that because now the means to do it are really there. Like, it's not that expensive to buy the gear to do it. You can reach out through Twitter to other people. And in fact, I did do something like that. But again, I am not going to release that just yet. Like, I'm going to just... This is the gateway. The comic book is the gateway. And but I will share that more with you off camera. When we talk more, I'll tell you a little bit more about that.
He's teasing us, folks. He's teasing us, man.
Yes. So that's the idea. Like, the comic book is the gateway to something, to like a whole universe called Flat Town. It's like a city that is modeled after the original X-Files. That one, yes, yeah. That one right there. That's actually Lowell. That's where I live. But I am modeling it a little bit after the original X-Files. Like, I love that show. Like, and I like the concept of that. And I feel like even though they rebooted that show, it's on again. I feel like it's just not the same anymore. Like, the original was something of its time. Yeah. So I'm taking that premise, and what happens in the plot is going to spin off into other incidents that happen in Flat Town. And that'll be different. That'll be audio drama. That'll be other comics. That'll be web series. That'll be other things. So I don't want to say much more about that. But like I said, the comic book is the gateway. So get the plot, and you'll be privy to that. You'll have insider knowledge of what comes next.
And I know Lowell being from Mass. So yeah, check that out. Oh my God, folks, look at this. Look at this. So you can follow them there on Instagram, Adventures in Flat Town. Oh man, you got YouTube too, the Flat Town Chronicles.
Yes. I should warn people. There is nothing on YouTube yet, but eventually that's coming. That there's more in the works. But same with Instagram. There's really nothing there at the moment, but there is, stuff is coming. So yeah. Again, how do I say without saying too much? I want to keep you in suspense. This is for people who like that little scavenger hunt aspect of things. I guess we're dating ourselves, but we come from a time when you had to look for entertainment, that you had to go out of your way to find it. Yeah, like everything literally is here for you. So
you and me both, brother. I feel that because I was a kid, teenager in Brooklyn, having to ride my bicycle to go pick up a comic book because there's nothing else to do, or take a walk to the local video store to rent a cassette.
Oh wow, that was the worst. Remember when you go to the video store all week long? Like your parents would take you on the weekend because it was too far away or whatever. And all week long, you're so excited about this particular movie, and you go to the video store and it was gone. Like everybody would rent it.
I would get so mad. I'm like, damn, can you put it on?
I remember.
Let me know when it's there. I'll come. I used to give them the house number, and my mom used to be like, why is the video lady calling us?
Calling you, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, I would get so mad that, like, even though I was at the store and I could take something else, I'd be like, nah, let's just go home. Like, I've been so focused on that one movie that I don't want anything. Never mind. I'll just read comics or read books or anything else. Yeah. But we're in a time now where, like, it's if it's not on YouTube, it's on Tubi. Tubi is fantastic, by the way. I'm not affiliated with Tubi, but
I love Pluto. Pluto TV?
Oh, Pluto, yeah, Pluto. And someone recently introduced me to something called Canopy with a K. And you can join with a library card. It's like documentaries and movies. So it's leaning a little more. Yeah, I'll send you a link to that if you're interested in that.
Yes. I love documentary. My wife thinks I'm a geek. Because even before, when I finished work and I had that momentary break, I'm watching, some documentary stuff.
She couldn't tell from all the stuff in the background that you're a geek, from all the stuff behind you.
She knows I'm a geek, but not documentary geek. Because she's like, oh my God, they sound so boring. I'm like, boring? Are you not listening to what they're saying, yo?
I know, like you're so compelled. You're so like, yeah, definitely. I'm like that too. Like bizarre subjects. Like I said, like Men in Black or like any documentaries with aliens. I'm like captivated. Bro, like I find that so fascinating.
Tell me that you are on Gaia TV, GAIA, and like
I am not on Gaia, but I catch shorts.
Bro,
short pieces of Gaia.
You were
Yeah, yeah.
talking about the Men in Black, and they had this whole episode about this. Like them doing the circles and the Rosetta Stone, and how government is
Hmm.
like, yo, you shouldn't be doing this. I mean, government telling you shouldn't be doing something. I
It's
mean, just
pretty scary. Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? Why? I want to do it more now. You're talking to the wrong one.
Exactly. Yeah. That just makes you more curious. Makes you dig even further.
You'd be like,
Yeah.
espera, espera, está un marciano aquí, espera. Let me call John Jones or the Martian Manhunt, Martian Manhunt, or what's his name? The other cat from
Dan
W.
Aykroyd.
Oh, so
Dan
the
Aykroyd is a
Conehead.
big believer in that. Actually, Dan Aykroyd really believes in that stuff.
Well, he was a Conehead, wasn't he? He was eating sandwiches in one
Yeah,
photo.
well, he was in the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters movie. But the thing is, he believes in that. He believes in supernatural phenomena like paranormal, like Men in Black. He believes in that stuff. He is
So
he's a serious believer in that
are we
stuff.
are we
Yeah.
gonna are we gonna get that stuff from you? Because as Puerto Ricans are all into all that type. We believe in things like that. As
You
an
know,
island. Do you, as an individual?
Um, yes and no, I guess. I know it sounds like an evasive answer. Like, on one hand, I like the idea of like something, some other life outside of here, some other form of life. But I don't know. It's a little. I don't know if it's like these little green beings with the giant heads and the big eyes. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's that particular thing. But I like the idea. I like to think that there is something else, something beyond, and that maybe they will contact us because of all the stuff that people do here on planet Earth.
See,
But
for me, I believe that we can't be ignorant to believe we're alone in this huge universe. But I
yes,
also
yes, it's
don't
a
think that
massive universe.
they're not gonna be traveling here. I do feel that, just like technology, maybe they could contact us through radio waves and shit like that. But I mean,
Yes, yeah.
but they're gonna really make a ship to travel all the way here just to observe, bro. If I'm making a ship to go to a planet, I'm taking it over.
I was gonna say yes. It'll be like Independence Day, yeah.
Wepa, toma, White House, man. I wish Trump was in
But
there,
I
boy.
wanted to ask you now. You're talking about aliens and all that. Do you remember like I want to say late '80s, early '90s? For whatever reason, in Puerto Rico, there were a lot of sightings over Yunque, the forest. The tropical forest.
Yeah,
For
man.
whatever reason, again, my fascination with that is it's always certain cultural landmarks that they always choose to do that.
Yeah.
And that's my fascination. It's okay, why this particular place? Like, why not any place else? It seems to me that if you wanted to look at people without being humans, without being noticed, you go to small towns, you go to little
Yeah.
places. You don't go to Manhattan. You don't go to like a
Hey,
dense tropical
let's go
forest.
to
You
the
don't go
Empire
to
State Building and stay there for a minute.
right, yeah. Like I know. So there's always that fascination with why is this? Like maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but this is why I call it a cultural debris because it's something that just hangs out and it comes from some sort of collective conscious in people. There is something, maybe there's a yearning for something, but most people don't admit it. So maybe you come up with these beings that maybe they want to take you away to their planet and you won't be like lonely anymore or sad or whatever. Like maybe I'm going someplace silly with it, but that's kind of what I think about. Like maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what these things are. Semioticos, I think there's a name for that.
Well, that means that people are trying to manifest aliens, so let them get manifested because right now, with the way that the world is, maybe that's what we need to unite humanity. It means that
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe like humans can't do it. They'll have to do it then, I guess, so we can stop destroying the planet and
yeah,
each other. Ourselves.
yeah,
Given with
man.
certain things happening in the world right now.
Absolutely, man. Can't we just get along like that homie said? Yo, come on, people. I mean, let's just buy
Totally.
comics like the plot, like the things he's been teasing us with. I mean, Mel, bro, you are a tease for sure. So, before we go, I want
I
to uh-huh. Dale, dale,
I'm
dale.
sorry. No, I was gonna say, what are your thoughts on it? I don't know if you've read it or not yet, but if you have, like, what are your thoughts on that? I'm trying to get a feedback, both to get better for the next one, and also because the feedback that I'm getting is fascinating. Like, it's interesting. It's got me thinking. Okay, what should I do next? Because a few people, like a tiny group of people, are saying that they reminds them a little bit of video games. And I'm not a gamer. I'm not like a gamer, but I do like the idea of games. Like I like how some games are very sophisticated now, like the Silent Hill, which is like a mystery of sorts, like a horror
Yeah,
mystery. Alan Wake, which is like a mystery. Like this writer goes to the countryside, his wife is missing, and to find her. And now he has all these confrontations. Then he gets clues to keep going. But I'm not a gamer, but I love the concept of games. So I wonder, okay, so there some people think of it as games, and then
Maybe it's due
there
to the
are.
story flow. That's why how the story flows. Because with games, nowadays, it takes hours to complete a game, and each game has
Mm,
hours of storytelling, and it's a progressive story. So you get a piece of the narrative, then you into the action, right? Finally,
mm.
physical. Then you get back to the narrative. I mean, my wife has watched me play games. She's like, "Why does this feel like a movie?" I'm like,
Yes,
"Because it
that's what
is
I mean. They
nowadays."
feel the cinematic, yeah, the cinema that is missing in movies is actually on video games. We figured it out. We solved it. We solved
Yeah,
it.
so
We
exactly,
solved the mystery. Yeah.
and you're doing that through the plot too now in the comic book form. Through your own way. You're building story. This is what people want. We don't want everything given to us in 5 minutes off. Here's the story. Okay, now I know where this is going. No, I need to be kept on the edge of my seat until I get the next issue, and then at the end of that, I also want to say, what the f is going on? Because for me, that's how I kind of felt. For example, with the early Walking Dead's, when they were coming out from
Oh,
Image,
okay.
I would get connected with the characters a couple issues later. Oh shit, they killed them! What the hell? And I would feel. So you give me all this, and then no one is safe. That to me is what makes a great comic. You don't know what's
Exactly. Yes.
expected. And that's a testament to the creator like yourself. You keep giving us these twists and turns, you know, and that goes to show
Yeah.
from your fandom then. And I also want to mention something because you mentioned all those awesome Latino comic books, but there was another comic book, a Spanish comic book, Spanish language one, that my family always seemed to have around. Capulina. You remember Capulina?
Oh, it's funny. I never knew the comic book, but I knew the show. I knew the
Oh my
TV
god.
show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It had the theme song, and the guy, like the sort of stocky guy, it was. I wasn't that into it, but it's funny because I always assumed that it was a TV show. I'm guessing maybe it was that, and then the comics came later,
The
or
comics came later. It was all part of it. And folks, if you don't know who Capulina is, it's basically like a Latin American Benny Hill, like similar to
yes, yeah, there
a
you go,
Jorge
yeah, like kind of
Porcel.
zany, naughty.
Yeah, Jorge Porcel type.
Yes. Well, it's funny you mentioned that now, because if I can go back to Caliman briefly, I always assumed Caliman was a comic because that's what I knew. But very recently, it sort of popped up again. It's funny how it just came into my life suddenly, and I started actually collecting the actual issues. And
Oh,
looking
what?
into it, I found out that actually Caliman was actually an audio drama originally created in Mexico
No,
that
hold
became
up.
so popular. It became it literally it was being what is the word? I want to say it's serialized, but it basically it got played in other countries
It got
in Mexico as well.
syndicated. It got syndicated.
Syndicated, yeah, as an audio drama. And
Right.
then they started, okay, where can we go further with this? So it became a comic book. And as a comic book, it also got distributed all across Latin America. And it
Right.
became so big that I guess like people in Latin America shared it with their family in North America, that eventually it started going into other markets. It was so massive. It was such a huge hit
Ooh.
that it literally became, oh, maybe it's a global phenomenon. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if it
So,
made it all the way to Europe or to Canada
so are you
and
telling me?
Asia.
So if somebody came up to you right now and said, "Yeah, do you want to do a story on that character?" Would you jump on it?
Yes, I would.
There
Yeah,
you
that would
go.
be
Yeah.
fantastic. It's funny you talking about that. Like going through eBay looking for other issues. The whole copyright issue, I like how it happens everywhere. Not just we are familiar with here in North America, but going through eBay, I found 3 issues where Calimán fights Galactus,
What?
Doctor Doom, Galactus. I'm gonna send you a link to that because you might want to buy them. In the cover, you see Caliban like kind of facing off against Galactus, like a giant Galactus. Then there's another issue where he's facing Doctor Doom. And then there's a third issue where he's facing like a whole bunch of Bens, Ben Grimm from the Fantastic
No
Four.
way. Yeah.
I am going to send you the link, man. You're going to lose your mind. You might want to buy them. I don't know. But like, I love the fact that someone in Mexico did that and they're like, fuck it, we're going to do it. Like they never thought that it would go beyond Mexico. They
Of
didn't
course.
think of decades later somebody would put that on eBay or some other place to
Right.
sell it.
And all of a sudden, Marvel's like, "Wait a minute, what the hell is going on here?"
Yeah.
I
I
love it.
thought maybe they licensed it because Marvel did do that. Marvel actually for a while they licensed Spider-Man to Japan And there is a Japanese Spider-Man, but I think that
Yeah.
that was, legal. Like Japan paid for the character, and
Oh yeah.
then they
And
actually created their own little. They kind of tweaked
yeah,
it a little bit, but like it's a
yeah,
Japanese Spider-Man essentially.
yeah. The Japanese Spider-Man is basically the grandparent of all of those, big robot, people as pilot shows. That was
Oh,
the
like
first one.
a Ultraman
Yeah,
and
like an Ultraman, like a Power Rangers. That Spider-Man show was the first of its kind where they had a human, pilot a giant robot, if you will.
oh wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, yo. Yeah, listen, when I found that out, I'm like, really? That's the granddaddy of them all.
It's amazing. It was an American character.
Yeah, and I seen that. I mean, not for nothing. I mean, Jesus Christ, definitely a product of its time, but I appreciate what they did and what came from it,
When I was little, I loved that stuff. I was big into Ultraman and Mazinga or Messenger. In Puerto Rico, it was
Oh,
Mazinger. Mazinger.
yes, bro. That is my first experience in
I think it was my first experience with manga. Also, Mazinger.
yeah,
I think it's Mazinga, but Mazinger in Puerto
es
Rico.
Mazinga Z.
Mazinga Z. Yes, yeah. That might have been my first experience with manga. And I remember watching that. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? What is this?
Bro, I had the 2 foot tall plastic toy from back in the day that would shoot the hand.
The one that shot up. Yes, totally, man. You and me both, man.
Yeah,
With the camera. Oh.
yeah, yo, isn't that awesome? Yeah, yeah. Look, I have a little one. I put it away because one day I was showing it off, and the hand flew off. I just found it.
Oh,
the
no
other day.
kidding.
Yes, I said, "Oh shit, there goes the hand." Now I gotta go
It's
find
the
it.
fist, yeah. I was gonna say, I noticed, is that Voltron in the background?
Yes, it is. I got.
Wow, I totally recognize Voltron. That was probably my second experience.
I got
Oh,
that.
you got the big one too, though, right? Yeah, you got the giant
I
one
got
also.
the OG, and then this model.
Oh, yes. I had that one. I had the
Yeah,
little
but
one,
this
yeah.
is the original for sure. This is my baby. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Look at this. Is my original. Look at this kiddo.
That is beautiful, yeah. That is such an awesome thing, yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Again, this is something that I am glad that I grew up in Puerto Rico because in America, it took a while for manga and anime to reach. It's only really like in the 90s that it started to kind of
Yeah.
get into America.
Because the
But in Puerto
films like Fist of the North Star, Ninja Scroll, Violence Jack. I mean, when those movies, because again, I can't get into anime shows. But you give
Me
me
neither, yeah.
you give me an anime movie, wepa, I'm in there. Like in it, Ninja Scroll, Violence Jack, like I said, Fist of the North Star, Orusuku Doji. So many great films from Akira. I mean,
Yes,
I'm
that
a
was my first viewing in a movie like Akira, and I remember the same thing. I was like, "What the hell am I watching?" And it was so cool, like being exposed to a culture in that way. And now that it's like the biggest thing in entertainment right now. Like one of the channels that I watch on YouTube, they were mentioning how one manga title alone outsold all of DC's content, everything in terms of magazines, because it's just so bizarre and like there's variety too. There's like options. You have
yeah,
everything all across the spectrum.
it's mad variety. It's not they don't just market towards males. It's a very female dominant.
Yes.
Readership on that, and then the fact that females could walk into a bookstore and buy it, not have to go to a comic shop because most comic shops don't even carry manga either. Sadly,
No.
very few big shops like a Midtown. When I lived in New York, I know they carry it, and the Jim Hanleys, but you go to a local mom and pop, I mean, very hard to find unless you put that on pre-order. So, it's also the accessibility to it. So, you could go to a bigger bookstore and find manga or graphic novels,
Yes.
Which is what's destroying the regular floppy nowadays.
Yeah. Well, now that you talk about that, I remember there's a Barnes and Noble in Nashua, New Hampshire, which is not very far from me. I've been going to that place for years. And from like, I want to say the mid 2000s to now, I remember going there and noticing when I looked through the comics section, noticing how the manga section kept getting bigger and bigger to the point that now it's like an entire segment now takes up manga. Like the American comics just kept getting pushed and pushed. And it's like one set of shelves and like everything else around it is manga now. Like manga has literally now pushed that into it. So
it's the I think the freedom of creativity that those creators are allowed.
Yes, yeah, like there's no issues with violence, for example. Like manga tends to be very graphically violent, and for whatever reason, America's like infantilized about that. Like again, growing up in Puerto Rico, like nobody really like watched me. I was free to watch. My mom was okay with me watching anything as long as I was not on the streets, where like drug dealers and things like that. She
As long
didn't
as
care.
you
So
weren't a
I
títere,
watched whatever, like I watched anything like Grindhouse, VHS exploitation. It didn't really matter. And she was okay with that. She didn't particularly care. So, but in here, there's always this need to like police everything. And like, because of that, you censor entertainment. Well, people are going to go look for something else. And manga tends to be very unrestrained. It's kind of pervy also, but I find that fascinating too. Like the fact that they sort of don't hide their sexual perversions. They put that right up on the manga, also on the anime. I
Yeah,
find that so good. There's even like porno, like more like
yeah.
that porno manga.
Oh yeah,
And
well,
I'm
that's
like
the hentai.
judging that. I'm saying people like it. There's people out there who want that, so they're giving it their music
Yeah,
because someone out there it will pay for it.
that's the hentai stuff. I mean, yeah, it's a market for it, and I think another
That's
thing that,
exactly right.
and I mean, and what also helps that is that when you have a creative team on a manga book, I mean, that creative team is like basically the team for life,
Hmm.
as opposed to an American comic book where every 4, 5, 6 issues the team is changing. So the
It
narrative
changes,
now
yeah.
changes, the art changes. So I mean, doesn't that do damage? In the long run to a run.
I imagine it. Yeah, I guess I'm thinking of like the you say how like the team changes, and often these changes happen not necessarily. There's artistic disagreements, but I think there's also business disagreements. Like maybe the title is doing well, so naturally they want more money, and then they say, "Well, we really can't." And okay, so I'm done then. Like I'm gonna stop doing it. So in desperation, they bring someone in who's willing to do it for the same amount of money or even less money, and the quality is going to go downhill then, because you got people who probably know that they're just covering for someone who had the thing like selling consistently, and or maybe it'll be different. Maybe they'll use that as an opportunity to raise their brand, to like get their name out there. But it's iffy. It goes either way. And there's also the fact that I guess a lot of artists are realizing too that if they just simply do a little bit of the work, they use platforms like Twitter, they can actually make more money and keep control of their character.
Gotcha. So is that something you really do? I mean, how do you, as an independent creator, promote your product and put yourself in front of people?
Okay, so this is a whole aspect for me now because up until I put this out there, I never paid attention to to how important that is to like marketing, to like branding yourself. And I honestly can't really answer the question because I'm learning right now. This is right now what I'm doing. This is
You're
an
still a
experience.
student.
And I'm sorry, say that again.
You're still a student of the marketing game.
Exactly, yeah, because I mean, I avoided all this. I guess briefly to tell you, in 2019, the fall of 2019, I decided I had some mini comics, like, short comic book essay type essays in comic book from some short stories. I decided, like Boston Comic Con was going to happen. So I was like, I'm going to get a table. I'm going to do it just to hell with it. Like, I'm doing it. So I go do it. I find out that it's kind of expensive to get a table at a Comic Con. The electricity and all that costs money. The cost of printing these out, but it's exciting. It's something I've never done before, and to me, that's always been like the dream, like the rock star. When I saw like guys working the table, signing books, to me, that's like I want to be that guy. Like I want to live that dream. Like so, I do it, and literally, a Friday happens. Friday, the first day of the event happens. I sold nothing. Like I'm like nothing, literally nothing. Almost no one stopped at the table. And then I'm like, well, it's the first day. It'll get better. It'll get better. Saturday happens. Again, nothing. Like a long day of nothing happening, nothing at all. And I'm like, well, it'll get better tomorrow. It's gotta get better. Sunday happens, and again, nothing. Literally, the whole weekend goes by, nothing. I didn't sell anything,
Oh wow.
and I was bummed out about that. But like later on, like when as the fall came and winter came, I was thinking about that, and I realized like, I didn't really tell anybody that I was gonna be there. And I kind of also didn't want to tell anybody because I was afraid of like kind of like I was a little like insecure about like the whole thing of being there. Like I had nerves about the whole thing. And as much as it sucks, that incident kind of got my head straight because I realized I need to be more scientific about this. I need to kind of like start understanding the business side of things. I kind of wanted to stay in a little bubble, do things, and not deal with that side of things. And I like, no, I need to get involved in this. And I hadn't yet made a comic like a book length, and I made short pieces, but I hadn't yet done something book length. So those were two things that I wanted to tackle. Like, how can I, make them happen together? So 2020 begins, COVID spreads like wildfire, lockdown happens. and I started looking at videos by Gary Vee. Like he was kind of like when I thought of like marketing and then trying to connect that to comics, it's not the same thing, but I said, well, I don't know anything else. Let me just look at Gary Vee and then kind of reverse engineer what he
Yeah.
does. I look at his videos and a lot of what he says makes sense. But again, like I cannot tie what he does, which is just, branding and marketing and other stuff for products, to something that's more artsy,
Yeah.
an art form, an entertainment thing. But what happens is Gary Vee led me to Seth Godin, and he came up with something really clever. He did something. He talked about the smallest viable market. He said,
Okay.
get more specific about yourself, and then from there, who is this for? The thing that you made, who is it for? So I start watching consuming his videos over and over, just getting that into my head as I'm, working on putting together this comic book. And from there, I was like, okay, so the first step is, I have a Twitter. Let me start with Twitter. Let me start just posting pages of what I'm doing and looking at other people who do that. Like there is a comic book artist that I'm a big fan of. Have you ever heard of Matt Kine?
Oh yeah, of course. Of
Yeah,
course.
I like him a lot. I'm a big fan because his stuff is kind of right up my alley. It's like science fiction, secret agents, suspense and the intrigue. So I started studying what he did, and I noticed how he'll share posters and all that. He'll share like works in progress. So I kind of started doing that, and it's not quite taken off. But from then to now, I have the actual book. Part of it is that I didn't have the book. I didn't understand Twitter. I had to kind of study the
Yeah.
platform better. And that's kind of what I've been doing. Like that, the fanship is growing. I know it's working because it led me to you. Like it led to other people like you. It's like,
Awesome.
okay, this feels much better now. Like actually, I'm in a better place now. Like I had to get out of my own way first. I had to just sort of come to terms with like, no, you need to be out there. You need to put
Yes.
yourself out there. To
I
quote
mean,
Seth Godin, he has this expression called being on the hook. And I realized when I did that back in the fall of 2019, I didn't want to be on the hook. I did it, but I didn't fully commit myself to it. Now I'm like fully committed to it. Like, okay, I made this book. Who was into comics? Like I use Twitter now. Twitter has a search engine. I use Twitter, and it's led to people like you, which is just really fun. Like even if I don't sell any comic, well, I'm not selling the comic, but even if no one downloads it, I love the fact that we've just been sitting here talking and just having this
yeah.
conversation,
Yeah.
and
Because
hopefully we'll have
getting
more conversations like this.
Yes, we definitely will, Melvin. Because that's the awesome part about this. I mean, it's not just about the creations that you make as a creator, but getting to know the creator. See how cool Melvin
Yes.
is, yo. I mean, he's a
Thank
fan.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
He's a fan. He's committed. I mean, but he's also a creator and a person that understands how important self improvement is and always learning. So I like everything you've been saying. That's awesome. Like, yo, I don't understand Twitter. Let me learn. Let me emulate. That's awesome because that's what I tell people sometimes. Don't hate, emulate. Because haters are mostly just
Yes.
jealous, right? How about stop hating and just do what they do? Then maybe you could be better than them. You never know.
And that you have access to it. Like you have these platforms, you have access to like just anybody, and just start reaching out to people. And not
Yes.
everybody will answer. Some people are busy, but keep trying. There's millions and millions of people just on Twitter alone. There's billions on Facebook. Just reach out to people. Just get over that. Don't be afraid to say, I'm so and so. I'm looking to learn about this. Some people say, "Oh, well, sorry, I can't. I'm busy right now." Oh, okay. Is there someone that that would have the time to talk to me and maybe go over these things a little with me? So just like that, just don't be afraid to do that. There's people who are actually want to share what they know, who are eager to
Oh
do
yeah.
that. But make the first step. Make that bridge, create that bridge. Reach out to them.
So, and let me tell you something. You mentioned about the tabling, the experience you had. All I tell you is that you need me there because I'm loud. I've tabled
I was gonna
before.
say, yeah, I was
Oh,
a little intimidated by you when
bro.
I first started talking to you. It's like, holy shit, like it's like
I
100% volume out of
No, bro, it's all energy and love. And I've tabled before, and basically, I stand in front of that table and I am bringing people. Ven pa acá, check this out. Look at this.
Well,
Pam,
you
pam.
know what? I am
And that's
gonna.
what you gotta do.
I'm gonna be asking. You're gonna be my consultant now. I'm gonna be consulting with you as I go further into this. How to get the
Bro,
brand out there. Yeah.
if you ever do a convention here in Florida, just let me know, kiddo. I'll be a megaphone for you. Don't you worry.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Nah, man.
You're a megaphone anywhere, man. We could drop you in Japan, and you'll be like, people will be, ooh, that
Bro,
person.
yo, you're not lying. I did MegaCon last year. Shout out to my boy from Geek Fest Film Fest that we did a shared table. We were doing a giveaway, and there was a
Mm.
charity doing a giveaway. They had a person dressed like Captain America with a megaphone, right? Would you believe that even though that person had a megaphone, I was still 3 times louder than them? That
Wow.
my neighbors was like, wow, it's true that Latinos have a big mouth. And second, I think Captain America is gonna throw the shield at you because anytime you talk, he tries to beat you, but he can't. He's looking at you. I'm like, do you guys
Yes,
got my
yes,
back?
yes.
Because I can't beat Captain America by myself now. Come on.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. But that's what I mean. Like, I admire people when I was a kid because I've always been more on the shy, quiet, introverted side. So I admire people who are like you, who just speak up, who just they say things. You know,
Kiddo,
you
I
just
was
speak up.
shy. I was very shy. So
No kidding.
my legal name, when this camera's off and I go back to my legal name, Alex Perez, I'm quiet, I'm cool, just But once this is on and I'm talking to people like you, it's mega time, baby.
Getting to character, yeah. Getting into character,
It's not even
yeah.
just the
That's
character, it's just
awesome.
the energy because people like you inspire me and motivate me. Look at you. You again, you have this journey where you continue to educate yourself, and become a better version. And you're telling people, reach out, I'll talk to you, let's get it done. See, that's the right
Yeah.
attitude to have in this business, man. And de verdad, all I see is you gonna have a whole bunch of success in this, bro, because you got an awesome
Oh wow,
product.
thank you so much, man.
You
Yeah,
have a
I
great
appreciate it.
vision,
Yeah.
and don't you worry. The next con, just trust me what I'm telling you. Stand up in front of that table, holding your book like this, and be like, "Yo, have you seen this? Come over here for a minute." That's all you gotta do, bro. Get out that shell, bro. Get out that shell. Come on.
Thank you so much. I know that's awesome. No, but it's the energy too. Like I said, I love like to have conversation. People who are passionate about stuff. People who are just they love it. They love it and they immerse themselves into it. Like you love this stuff and like
I
we
love
connected and it's
it.
awesome. Just love these conversations.
Well, this is what it is, yo. I mean, I appreciate all types of creators because if it wasn't for creators, I probably would have been nuts by now because it's people like you that put yourselves out there, create awesome stuff to keep us entertained. And again, I can't say thank you enough to you and people like you for real because you guys are doing God's work there, taking us away for a moment. And we need that in this crazy world. So again, just
Well, an artist needs someone like you. So thank you so much for inviting me and having me over because it's like a symbiotic relation. An artist needs his audience. And an audience needs that person. So it's you give to each other. You give to hopefully we give to each other along with many other people as well.
oh well, I can't
Give
wait
and
to
take, give and receive. Maybe let's say give and receive.
absolutely. I can't wait to meet you and have the opportunity to meet you in person and get signed copies and get plotting more.
Yes.
All right. Don't you worry. We get some coquito. We have a good time. All right.
Oh man, coquito, pernil, arroz con gandules,
Oh, bro. Wow. We're gonna
pasteles, pasteles,
oh my
pasteles,
god. Yes.
pasteles de carne.
Oh my god, bro. Stop making me hungry, bro. And like us Puerto Rican we pasteles, during Christmas and Thanksgiving. That's pasteles season. But
It is funny.
give me that shit right now. I'll eat 3 of them.
Now you got me thinking about that. I'm planning to go see my mom soon. Like she has in the fridge just when I go
Oh,
over.
Mami, necesito dos pasteles. Let's go. I love
No,
it.
cuatro, cuatro, dos
Cuatro,
para ti and two for
oh,
me.
hey, hey, we're greedy. We're greedy. That's right. So, people,
Totally, man. I'm a hog when it comes to Latino food, man.
you and me both, kid. I eat everything, bro. Latino, Italian, Greek. You give it to me.
Pretty much, yeah. I love food. Yeah, you and me. I guess we're like Steven Seagal. We eat everything.
Oh, shit. But hopefully we don't look like Steven Seagal when we get older. Damn. I mean, right
No,
now,
we'll burn
right
it
now,
off. We'll go out walking and
yeah,
screaming at the
please.
Comic Con. We'll burn off all those calories. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because Steven Seagal, I don't think he can lift his legs anymore.
No, no. If you watch any of his more recent movies, like he barely moves and he barely
Right.
talks as it is. Yeah.
Bro, he's Russian now. Remember, you're not making American movies no more. He
I
abandoned them.
guess, yeah. No, yeah. A lot of those movies were made in Eastern Europe, and but like, I mean, the guy's he's barely trying anymore.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, it's all
amazing.
right. He was great when he came out. Those like first 3, 4 movies, and that's it.
Yeah,
Steven,
I like those a lot. Yeah, like Hard to Kill. Like I love those.
oh,
That
is it
was
Above the
wild. That was
Law, right?
insane.
Yeah.
Above the Law, Under Siege,
Oh my
and then
God.
yeah, after that, I don't particularly care. Yeah, like that's it.
Yeah, bro, too funny. I love it. So, folks,
Oh
check
man,
out
we have so much in
Steven.
common. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, but we're gonna hang out when we meet in person. That's right, folks. Check it out. Another fellow Latino, but awesome comic book creator that's out there putting good to the world. Please go visit Gumroad. Look up that Robo Pulp. Go visit the website right now at Welcome to Flat Town. All right, you heard it. Welcome to
You
Flat
can get a free
Town.
copy there as well. There's a little link. If you click on that, you'll get a subscribe. You'll get a free copy of the plot.
Folks, if you're anything like me, that's free. You know what I mean? Hey, get it done. And of course, I need you to follow Melvin on social. So you go to Twitter, it's RoboPulp, RoboPulp. And on Instagram, there's a dot between Robo and Pulp. So Robo.Pulp. Yo, check them out. Show the love. Tell them Mega sent you. Tell them Comic Crusaders sent you. Go ahead and support this awesome stuff. Get these free books, and then tell Mel that you want some artwork and you need some stories done. Get them commissions. Do it all, yo. Support indie. Support creators like this, man, because this is the future right there. People like this, man. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me and my Crusader.
Thank you very much for having me over. It's been a blast, man. It's been so much fun to reminisce about all the wonders of the island.
I know, kiddo. You're gonna make me get all those old Spanish language comic books now, coño. eBay.
I'll send you the link to that one. You need to see this. Like Calimán fighting Galactus and Dr. Doom. It's just it blew my mind when I saw that.
Please send
Calimán literally has fought everyone now, except Steven Seagal, I guess.
Oh, yo, Steven, watch out, bro. They're coming.
I wonder if Calimán. I mean, Calimán is awesome, but I don't know. Steven Seagal versus Calimán. Oof. We need to make that comic, I guess. We need to make that.
It all depends what year he fought Steven Seagal.
Okay, yes, yeah. If it's current, 1992, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, Steven Seagal would probably whoop his ass then, but not now. Anyway, with that,
yes, definitely.
Thanks for tuning in. You know what to do. Follow Comic Crusaders everywhere. You can follow me at The Real Al Mega everywhere. Whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikToks. All right, I don't take and talk too much, but when I do, I really talk tick. Wepa, para que sepan, hay que estar Al Mega Boricua Suprema. Hasta la próxima. Much love. Later.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you for listening to the Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at Undercover.com. And also make sure to download the Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.